Hey everybody, welcome to this week's reading. I'm Empress Rose. Take what works, leave what doesn't. As I was preparing for your reading, I was looking into my scrying ball and I saw a cave painting of like a tiger chasing a man, and there was also a caveman involved and an alligator. So what I'm thinking about, what it has me thinking about and wondering about is sort of primitive fears, right? We're always talking about our anxiety, which is an important emotion. It's important to pay attention to it, or at least understand where it's coming from. Oftentimes it comes from, these ancient fears of that we're being chased. Usually we use the metaphor of being chased by a tiger. It's actually just that our taxes are due, but we have the same amount of anxiety as if we're being chased by a tiger. So there's a little bit of that sort of primitive kind of feeling, a very early emotions, survival, but then we have the creativity. These people that we just assume are constantly in survival mode, cavemen, and they're doing like these paintings that are just ancient and gorgeous and amazing, and that need to do art even in the middle of our fears and anxieties and very real things happening around us. But this need to express fears artistically, express our anxieties artistically. So, very sort of primitive emotions being expressed artistically is what I'm seeing here. So the first couple cards, I was sort of going through this monster deck of Moonology and Work Your Light magic. I think it's just Work Your Light. I think I always add the magic on there for no reason whatsoever. So some primitive fears being faced here, but also the potential to make art out of those fears, or to create something lasting, very long-lasting art out of some deep emotions. So I love that message that has come forward. So what do you need to release? Waning moon. So something that you knew or you thought you knew, you don't know that anymore. You maybe did, but you don't know it anymore. Letting something go, winter, rest, downtime, and the safety to sort of let go of something that you thought you knew, something that you did know, that was very relevant to your experience, that was very true and very clear. But now we're coming to a place where it might not be true anymore, and you can let go of it. It's a reset. There's a reset because the next moon is coming, the next full moon is coming. It's a different full moon. It's got a different name. It's a different time of year. It's the same full moon, but it's a very different full moon. So not expecting what comes next to be exactly like what came before. And it's not that you were wrong. It's that it's time for a reset. It's time for you to let go of what you knew. You did know, and you're letting go of that knowing because the next month, the next cycle, the next experience is actually going to be very different. So now we're just kind of letting go, flushing out our brains, like what we know, what we thought we knew about a specific situation, because we might not know. It's just going to be different. It's not that we were wrong. It's just that allowing something else to show and reveal itself. And so new moon in Virgo, time to give rather than take. So this can also be, so the new moon aspect is that you're bringing intentions into a situation, and you're being very clear about what you intend, what you're bringing to a situation. That's what you need to be thinking about, is what energy do you bring to a situation? What maybe even preconceived notions you bring to a situation. What are you bringing into the situation? It's time to be very intentional about how you start something new. We're letting go of something, but it's time to be really clear on what it is you bring to the table, or whatever that sort of concept that gets at. Is it time to give rather than take? So being generous, and being very conscientious and intentional with the energy that you initiate something with. Setting intentions for a new situation. And then we also have luck is on your side, new moon in Sagittarius. So going into a new situation, there's a directness here. And again, I'm just seeing just this intentionality that's hitting its mark. You will be hitting your mark. You'll be hitting what you need to hit, even though you're shooting in the dark a little bit here. Luck is on your side can also be about, this can also come in to tell you that something that doesn't feel very lucky maybe at the time might be. That's not necessarily what I'm getting, but it is sort of something. It just feels really good. These like releasing something. Luck is on your side. Let go of the expectations for failure. You may have been a failure your whole life. That doesn't mean that the whole future is also more of the same. You may have this expectation, or you may have expectations that you need to let go of, and you need to realize that you have these expectations or these preconceived ideas. But there's something that you don't, this new thing that's coming in is very unclear. You don't know much about it. Given that you don't know much about the next phase here, you need to let go of your preconceived ideas because you don't know. You need to be very intentional about the energy you bring and what you're bringing to a situation. You need to really understand and trust that luck is on your side here. And luck can be very random seeming. It can be unforeseen. I mean, usually it is. All right. Anything else from the... Okay, yes. All right. I feel like my phone is crooked. Is it crooked? Maybe it's not crooked. All right. Oh, dear. Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness. So, well, we'll do the more exciting one first. So, what the winter spirits know. I love this because we have this winter scene right here. We actually have a lot of winter going on here. What the winter spirits know, that in rest is, right, and we had winter, rest, downtime. In rest, there is magic, there is dreaming, there is visioning. There is rest that needs to come in here. What the winter spirits know is that during the downtime is a very magical time. Dream time, visioning time, rest time. When you there's something just so crucial about rest right now. About dreaming, about sleeping, about naps, about letting go of the previous season completely. It's rotting under the snow. There's like blankets here, and there's something that under these blankets, there is something that is being completely composted. It's decomposing. It's not here anymore. We can use it in the future. We can use the elements of it in the future, but this is just so fascinating to me and powerful. What the winter spirits need to know. Letting go of some sort of busyness, perhaps even some sort of project, so that you can rest. It's just really cool that these came out. Then we have, if you hear a Sasquatch sigh. So this card is just about all kind of the depressing things in life, the losing faith. And then you may have been in a little bit of a low activity period, which has caused you possibly to question something and to lose faith that anything's going to happen. So if you were headed somewhere and there's a barrier or something happens and you don't get to do the thing, you don't get to go there, know that that is actually really cool. Do not lose faith. Don't be tempted to lose faith. bring a good attitude, and know that it's either a very lucky miss, like, oh, what's that phrase? Rejection is God's protection. It's a dodged bullet. Like, maybe you want to go to this thing. Maybe you want this job. Maybe you want this position. What you're looking at is actually a dodged bullet if you don't get it. But there can also be something about, in this rest time, you may start to get discouraged, even if it's intentional. Even if you're like, I'm going to take a break from that for a month. And you may just be like, why isn't that working? Well, because you're taking a break from it. But there can also be a sense, when you hear a Sasquatch sigh, is like a sense of a loss of faith. There's a loss of faith. And Sasquatch is sighing because he's kind of upset that you don't believe in him right now. That's why Sasquatch is sighing. Magic exists. Like, oh, maybe this is what I was seeing with the caveman idea. And this primitive form, or primitive humanesque, maybe it just seems primitive. Could be concurrent, could be modern. But this humanesque face, just very different. Yeah, you don't believe in Sasquatch. You don't believe in magic. You don't believe in telepathy. Maybe you're like overprotecting yourself from something. I mean, like, you need to rest. Maybe you don't believe that that's how magical rest is. How magical downtime can be. It can also be about dealing with depression too. And we have all these winter cards. And winter, can be a time where things lie fallow, where things are let go of. But it can also be a time where people do experience depression. Like, get out your little light box if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, because I'm having to do this in the dark because we don't have much light here, and it's not even the beginning of October. I mean, it is the beginning, it's mid-October, but the point is that we don't, there's not the same amount of light, so it can be a little depressing. So it can be talking about depression as well. There's a sense of protectedness. Even if you don't believe in something, it's still protected. And just taking a break seems to be important, but just don't get too wrapped up in the break, or there's something about faith here, and just kind of having a little loss of faith in the larger direction of things. But luck is on your side. So if you miss something, don't get depressed. It's actually very good that you dodged that bullet. And trying to think about your attitude as you head into a new thing. So letting go of something. All right, tarot cards here. We've got from the bottom of the deck, Page of Cups. Someone who could be younger, or not. Someone who's just experiencing a new feeling, a new emotion, perhaps even a new relationship. And it's very surprising. I feel like we got Page of Cups last time. I feel like we did. But there's a surprising new thing, surprising emotions coming to the surface you didn't know you had. And there's this openness. I mean, I think that's where we get the page feeling, is there's an openness to this new emotion and this new thing. And we're talking with these new moon in Virgo, new moon in Sagittarius. We're talking about this newness and this unknownness. And this person here, this page, could be you, could be somebody else, is very open to that, is very open to something new. Kind of willing to talk to a fish, it's almost like they're willing to talk to their own feelings and their emotions and see what's going on there. And it's like a surprising thing is kind of coming up here. It's maybe even a surprising emotion, good, bad, enjoyable, unenjoyable, acceptable, unacceptable to the outside world, shadow emotions, like the more delightful work face emotions coming to the fore here, the ones that you're allowed to have at your job. And so good or bad, or comfortable or uncomfortable, something's coming up and there's a willingness to look at it. This person's very willing to look at whatever comes up. It's not going back into the ocean. Once you fish that feeling out, it's not going back into the ocean. It's going to be looked at, it's going to be examined, and it's going to be noticed, seen, and understood. And so that's where I think the page comes in here. There's an openness here. And so it doesn't necessarily have to be a younger person, because the king can be in a page mode, a lot of emotional maturity, and looking at something totally new and totally different, and from maybe even a totally new perspective, totally new, maybe even communication coming in here, that someone with a lot of emotion, and I see this page as being very emotionally mature as far as like being open to something new, to a new feeling coming in. Yeah. Past, present, inner landscape, what's at issue, environment, to-do list, possible outcome. In fact, I think that the page could technically be something that's someone who's emotionally immature, and it's just like, but I feel like there's a lot of emotional maturity in being able to just kind of look at what comes up and being able to be curious about those feelings, whether they're yours or somebody else's, and be curious about them. So in some ways, I guess I'm feeling like all of the cups are really actually emotionally mature. They all have that going on for them. Whether it's something new, whether it's something private, whether it's something public, whether it's something being expressed, there's an emotional maturity here. And I'm seeing that with the Page of Cups right now. So in the recent past, we have Two of Coins. So juggling things, quite a bit on your plate, some topsy-turvy emotional possible terrain here, but also juggling things, balancing things, maybe jobs overlapping, just a lot to juggle and a lot to deal with. I haven't seen the Two of Coins for a long time. So it's like something that's coming in here, or already has come in, and there's just like, well, how do I integrate this? And there's almost like no way to integrate. When we're talking Two of Coins, when we're talking temperance, we're talking about integrating a feeling, integrating things into your life. But Two of Coins is more like the juggler. We have one ball in our hand. We throw it up. We get the next ball in our hand. We're not blending the balls all together and then juggling ball blend. We're like juggling the different individual things. And these things aren't necessarily mixing. These things aren't crossing over. These things aren't, we're not taking our baby to court today as a lawyer. These are things that just aren't going to mix or blend, or we haven't been able to figure out how to do that yet. So in the past, you've been juggling different things. And there's always a sense of like possible imbalance here. It's keeping things going. There's the infinity symbol is always here. So there's some sort of like cycle, or it's always juggling this and that and this and that. And it goes on possibly seemingly forever. And there's a sense of needing to juggle different things. No wonder you got this winter here. It could be time to put one of those things down. So we have Five of Coins. You just don't have enough. You might not have enough time, enough energy, enough money to be doing all of these things. You might be feeling a little broke, where like maybe in the past you were juggling a lot of different things. Five of Coins is either being broke or being focused on being broke, or being focused on what you don't have, being focused on the lack, on what other people have and what you don't have. You have emotional support here at least, but there is a sense of feeling abandoned, feeling alone, feeling shut out of something, even though you might actually be in something. I feel like there might even be a lack of faith coming in here, maybe even some resentment about what you don't have and what other people have. Even though you may have like a really beautiful relationship, you do have something, but there's a focus on what you don't have and what others do have, and maybe even some anger and some resentment. But it is about this is I don't have this. I don't have. I didn't get what's mine. I didn't get what's coming to me. I didn't get paid. But there's a focus. There can be a focus here on lack, but there can also be like both the focus can be on lack, but also the reality can be that you don't have enough money. You don't have enough resources. And with the Two of Coins, you've got these balls in the air. You've got these coins in the air. you're juggling a lot, and then 5 of coins can be feeling left out, feeling like you didn't get it. It's actually reminding me a lot of this guy right here. If you hear a Sasquatch sigh, of this like focus on what you don't have, focused on a lack of faith. Like he's even in a church, but all he sees in the church is the riches that they have, and there's no faith involved here. There's no belief involved. It's just that this church seems to have all the money and I seem to have none. So there can be a loss of faith too, because of this like sense of imbalance or sense of lack can be causing a loss of faith in the higher order, in the divine. Your inner landscape, we have the high priestess here. So the high priestess, your hopes, your fears, your inner landscape. This is about an individualized faith, not a community faith, not a group faith, not a faith in the institution. Yeah, there's an institution here that you've lost faith in. And maybe you worked hard for them. Maybe you did a couple projects for them. Maybe, but there may be a loss of faith. This is like your executive making 400 times what you make, and you didn't get a raise this year, but hey, they did really good on the stock market. That's great for them. And so the high priestess, though, there's a spiritual aspect. Maybe you want to take a spiritual high road here. Maybe you want to be intuitive. You're hoping that you have a good intuition about something. There is the high priestess, but this is you, the high priestess, highly intuitive, very spiritual, secret keeper, able to sort of tame some sort of wild, intuitive thing. There's a journal, but it's locked, but you know where to get the information you want. There's things that can be known, things that cannot be known. The high priestess can keep secrets, esoteric secrets. And maybe this is what you want. You want to be the secret keeper. You want to be unknowable. You want to know, you want to be highly intuitive. And that's what you're hoping. And you might be hoping that although there's lack here, you might be wanting to be highly intuitive about something, having a really good intuition about something. And then we have like the tamed leopard, which always to me is like something very wild, but there's a little bit of control over it, or a little bit of ownership over something that's not owned or not knowable. So that's a bit of the high priestess here, is this. And that's what this is showing up in your inner landscape of something that you want and something you desire, to be very intuitive. And then what's the issue here? The Two of Swords in reverse. Maybe you want to be more secretive and you're not being very secretive. Two of Swords in reverse. This is the Yes card. This is the knowing enough card. The communication coming, no blocks. There's not a blockage here. It's yes, it's not no. The X marks the spot. The X is not the X of her swords right here. This would be the X marks the spot, not the X is a denial. So coming out of denial about something, perhaps this situation, coming out of denial about something. Denial can be a magical, wonderful, amazing place to be. It's a way that our brains protect ourselves from things that we aren't ready to know or face yet. When we choose to stay there after we've consciously seen something and then we choose to stay in denial, that's problematic, but it's also something everybody has done. But there is a sense of coming out of denial, truth coming out. Something being seen, exposed. And as the high priestess, we were talking about secrets and secret keeping, but also revealing things. There's a lot of twos here. There's Two of Coins. The high priestess is a 2. We have Two of Swords. So yeah, there's the Two of Swords reverse. I haven't seen that in a long time either. That can be truths being revealed, but it can also yeses and openings and things being revealed and things being cleared out and cleared up and opened up. It's not denial, it's acceptance of something. In your environment, you have King of Cups. Oh, cool. We got the Page of Cups first, and I was talking about the King of Cups. We have a King of Cups. We have someone who's very mature. This can be a counselor, a therapist, or just someone who is mature. And, you know, both of these have some pretty good storms going on in the background. And there's tumult, but this King's Cup is very, very even Steven. This person would be a great resource if you're feeling panicked, feeling in difficult space. This person is someone you need to talk to. There is someone here who's very emotionally mature, steady, available. They know how to deal with difficult situations. They know how to handle themselves. They know how to handle difficult situations. They're not freaking out. You can tell them anything and they're not going to freak out. So the Page of Cups and the King of Cups could actually be the same person. Someone who's very emotionally mature and is maybe surprised by something, but they're not going to dump it back in the ocean. They're just going to look at it and be curious about it. This person's very emotionally mature. They know how to take their emotions in and feel them and use them as information, but not get carried away by them. They're very even-keeled person. A lot of emotional maturity. This is someone in your environment. I'm interested to see that this is a person that you know that's around you. It may be very lucky to meet them, very lucky to have them in their life. You're going to be able to rely, at least from now, for a moment, in this person. It could be longer than a moment, but it could just be someone that you meet in this sort of difficult, lacking situation in which they're able to handle your situation. They're able to handle your grief and frustration and sense of being shut out and the lack. They're able to handle it with grace. So your to-do list, Six of Swords, look at this. It's what you need to release. Six of Swords is move on from some place. Moving on from this place, perhaps? Is it the place where you can see but you can't experience? Six of Swords could be actually moving. Six of Swords can be moving on. It's the refugee card. It's like whatever this is, it is not working. And so I'm moving on. I don't know what comes next. I don't know where I'm going next, but I'm moving on. Now, this is a tarot reading. You're not going to quit your job necessarily without something lined up because of a reading like this, but there is a sense of leaving something behind, releasing something and leaving it behind is where I'm seeing this. Leaving something in the dust, moving forward. There's a sense of protection. You have a lot of wisdom from this place. You've learned a lot. You understand a lot. But it is time for you to move on from some, that was Jack. So I can tell you what I'm looking at right here. My bookshelf, one of my bookshelves just kind of collapsed. It's probably a little bit my fault, but it shouldn't have been that weak. I should have been able to scooch it a couple inches, but it didn't like that, and it just sort of collapsed. Anyway, so now it's laying on its side because I'm not quite sure where I'm going with it next. So what happens next? Do I want to repair it? Do I want to get a new one? I haven't figured that out yet. So anyway, Jack just jumped all over it and knocked even more stuff down. So it's just like a little bit of organized chaos right there. Anyway, that's what, if you heard the sound, that's what just happened. So anyway, Six of Swords, we're moving on, we're moving forward. We don't know where we're going. The destination is hardly important at this point. What's important is that that's not working, whether it's a habit, whether it's a home, whether it's a car, whether it's a job, and even maybe something pretty minor too, right? It's just not working anymore. Whether it's a cookbook and everything you've cooked in it has burnt, we're letting it go. We're letting that go. So it's sort of, we've had enough. We're going to take our wisdom, the things we've learned, and maybe even we might move in some silence here. And I can see that as a possibility with the High Priestess. We might move on without really making a big fuss about it. Because we're kind of like, yeah, there's someone guiding. You have a companion, you have some guidance here. But you're moving on. I think this luck is on your side, is that this is a good move. This is a lucky move, even though it might not feel very good. And you might have lost faith in a situation. You might have lost faith in general. And it's really saying just lose faith in that situation. It's okay to face the truth here and lose faith and move on, right? The truth is sort of being revealed here. Something's being green lighted and you're moving forward from a place of lack, from a place of not enough. And boy, does it look bright. Where you're going is way cooler, way better, way brighter, way more amazing. It's cool. It's the Sun card. It's the happiest card in the deck. There's innocence here. There's excitement here. There's clarity. There's a lot of clarity here. You're headed from, where you're moving from is from here to here. You're moving from this dark, dingy, angry little place to this sunny, happy place. It seems like pretty quickly, which is kind of weird. With the luck, new moon in Sagittarius, it does seem a little quick. But maybe there's a sense of like giving yourself some transit time, some rest time. Because I don't think you want to go, I think your eyes are going to really hurt if you go from this dark, dingy, depressing place into this like bright, happy, wowzer place. I think you're going to get a headache. So maybe there's a sense here of like taking some time out. And maybe this is talking about where you're at right now is in this rest time, is in this downtime, and you can release stuff. But this boat's coming and you're moving forward. And maybe in this place seems to be like all of these, this winter, the Sasquatch, the sad Sasquatch place here. And then this boat is reminding me of this. And also to give rather than take. Maybe you're guiding someone out of something. Maybe you're the guide here. But there's movement forward, and there's movement forward to a very much better place. Cool, lots of clarity, lots of honesty, joy, delight. It's like everything's going to be revealed. And maybe you get to reveal everything because you're the High Priestess. But you have to you're leaving something behind, and maybe it's the cynicism. Or maybe it's the place where the cynicism, where it's this hopeless place that you're leaving behind, and you're going into a much more hopeful place. Yeah. Okay, so let's look at what some of these animals have to say. I love seeing the Sun card. This is a possible outcome. It's just delightful. It's just so cool. Like, take that risk. Leave the known situation. I don't see, the Six of Swords isn't quite a leap of faith, but it is an abandoning of what's not working for you. It is a leaving behind a place that's not safe. You're not getting your needs met there. It's leaving behind this place, wherever you feel left out, wherever you feel unsafe, wherever your needs aren't being met. And it could be a mentality, because the Five of Coins can be about talking about, can talk about the focus. but okay, we're going to put these 4 back, and we're going to take the one that landed, the 2 that landed upright. Electric eel spirit, bring your ideas to life, right? We were talking about the art, the caveman art, bringing your ideas to life, moving forward with something, moving on with something. So the electric eel here, that inspiration. And the sun card is all about what brings things to life. So there is like this inspiration. And then we have Panther Spirit, reclaim your power. Oh, I can see that with 6 of Swords. Making a decision at all is powerful. And making a decision to move towards a more powerful place. So right in here, you're feeling powerless and hopeless. And so reclaiming your power. Inspiration and power are yours with this reading. And then we're going to look at our auspicious symbols for the week. What do we got here? We've got one very sloppily flopping out. Scarab beetle. The scarab shares the power of healing, protection, and positive cycles. I see a lot of like life-giving renewal here. Again, we have the sun right here, or a symbol of the sun, that renewal, the sun. I'm remembering that Hemingway book, The Sun Also Rises. And then there's also a quote, but it's not the sun, it's the tide. But there's also a quote from, that's coming to mind with that idea that the sun also rises. And the cycles and things have their cycle, right? We might have been in a night, rest, winter cycle, but we've got spring coming. The sun is returning. It is going to return, right? It is going to return. And yeah, it's from, the quote I'm thinking of is the end of Castaway, where the character's like, talking to his friend or his therapist or something like that. And he's like, yeah, you know, you never know what the tide's going to bring. One day I was totally hopeless, and then this tide brought in this big plastic thing. I was able to use it as a sail and get out of here. And you just never know what the tide's going to bring in. And that's a little bit of the feeling I'm having here with the sun coming through and opportunities coming through. And the scarab beetles reminding me of that, because it's talking about positive cycles, which reminds me of the tide coming in and the sun rising and those positive cycles. So we're not going to be in winter forever. So if you've been in a bit of a hopeless place or feeling a bit stuck, there is a sense that the sun is going to come back and opportunities are going to come towards you. And there are happier days ahead, and you need to keep moving and move towards those happier days. Positive cycles is what this one's reminding of me. And renewal, that the dawn rising every freaking morning after a night. So hope that was helpful for you. Thank you so much for supporting my channel, for joining me over here. I very much appreciate it, and we'll talk again soon. Have a great week.